What's up? What's up?
What's happening? What's happening?
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Yeah, doing all right. We got cats in the chat already, bruh.
Yeah, man. The thing is, I can't see.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing?
Oh, there. Okay, so this is this. So we got some different stuff going on this week. We got the new layout. Got the new.
Look at the
Got
fresh.
the new camera slots.
The fresh.
But we are trying to figure it out here. So, because I can't see, I can see the chat, but I can't see.
Fresh.
It's like my screen is kind of cut off. All right. Anyway, we're going to roll. I'm going to figure this out. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We are local musicians.
XP.
We are not going to bore you with the particulars too much tonight because we have a guest that we have been waiting to get on the show.
We jumping right in, feet first.
We're not going to jump right in, but
okay,
I'm gonna sort of. But didn't you? I think I can't remember who it was. You bought a carton of milk, man. You saw the cat on the back. You were looking. Hey, man, I know that cat.
They were looking. So you saying this person was on the milk carton, bro?
I know that. So, man, wait a minute. They said if you call 555 funk.
I was looking in the wrong place. I was looking in the post office. You know how they had the pictures in the post office?
Yeah, I mean, so anyway, we found them, y'all. We found them, and we're going to bring him on in just a minute. And I have a feeling he is going to be a prominent figure of the show, man. Of some more shows coming up because we got a lot to deal with this cat. So
yeah, for sure.
Let's get the house cleaning out of the way. Okay, so we gave y'all one more week, not exclusively on YouTube, but we are definitely heading in that direction. We're gonna go with the Facebook for another week or two, and as I get things sort of sorted out for the look for exclusively on YouTube. So thank you for joining us wherever you are tuning in. If you're tuning in on Facebook or if you're tuning in on YouTube.
We got a lot of cats on YouTube. Got a lot of cats.
That's good. That's what we want. So try to, okay, guys, here's an experiment for you. If you're on Facebook, try to go over to YouTube so you can get used to that. Now, I had this old cat ask me last night, you know, that cat, Mark Podhorser, these cats, they don't know the news. They don't know like the new technology and stuff. So he was like, how do I comment on YouTube? And I said, well, you're in charge of figuring that out, man. Because if you're on the TV watching, I'm not sure how you do it. I think you have to be on a device. But
he's on TV? Oh, YouTube.
You watch it. So yeah, if you watch it on TV, you know,
see how old,
you know the apps, man. You still got the tube. You still got the tube television.
The Ray tube, bro. The CRT, bro.
Man. So I don't know.
Bro. He might have.
I have no idea. But we're gonna figure all that out together, guys. So but if you are joining, looks like Milan Matina's on YouTube.
Yep, see what I'm saying?
He's the OG. If he can figure it out,
shots fired.
Podhorser can figure it out. You know what I mean?
Don't do that to Podhorser, man. Don't.
I'm just saying. Those are our two eldest. Eldest. I said eldest. I didn't say. I said they're like elders. I'm giving them respect. You know. But if the oldest one can figure it out, the one that's below him can figure it out too. So, but thank you anyway. Let's see. Is there anything? So if you subscribe to the channel, please like it, share it. All that helps us out. Yeah. We try to build our subscriptions up. And I do this too, man. I watch a lot of YouTube. Sometimes it's hard to hit the like button, all that stuff, man. You just don't even think about it. So you see people, it's like they got thousands of people in the chat and 5 likes. You know, just because people just kind of forget about it. But that does help anyone's channel, guys. So if you're watching stuff on YouTube, make sure you like their channel. because that makes a big, or like the whatever the presentation or the episode that they're in, just go up to the little thumbs up button, man. It's got a thumbs up, and just hit that, and bam, you're in. The man, who is the man? All right, we got to know who's the man. The man is on YouTube. I'm in YouTube. Who is that? I need
Who's
to know.
T the man?
I don't know. We need to know. We got to figure that out. So looks good though, man. Nick is on YouTube. So if the youngest fan can figure it out, the older one can figure it out too, man. It's not hard. It's not hard. But thank you guys for rolling with us. We got a few things that we're gonna go ahead and take care of real quick. Tomorrow night we got the red light. What happened? What I do? What I do?
Read that.
Oh, he tricked. Oh, wow. He should have left us hanging, man, and made us guess. The man is my Google name.
Oh, wow.
Wow, the man. Okay. Wow. All right. So Pod Horsey, you figured, man, all respect and love, brother. All respect and love. You figured
the man. He's the
so man. Y'all on YouTube, stay there. Okay, so don't go back to the fake. Just stay there, because that's where we're going to be here in the next week or two. So, all right, let's do some housekeeping here. So you got the Red Light Jazz Jam with Gordon Vernick coming up tomorrow night.
Yeah.
You are playing. Robert Boone will be playing, and who's on bass? Tommy Sauter.
I think Sauter is, yes.
Okay, so that would be cool. I'm not sure if I'm coming out this week, man. I got a lot of music
stuff going on. Yeah.
I'm working on, so I'm not sure if I will be there, but there is a chance I will be there. And let's see here. The Wheel Sessions in Greenville, South Carolina, this coming Saturday night. I will be playing with the great Pat Bianchi Trio. We have a date Friday in Virginia that we're going to be coming in from that to play with Ronnie Elliott, the super kid, man, guitarist, jazz guitarist. Man. Yeah, so looking forward to checking that out. I had let's see if I have a little presentation.
Like a promo? You got a presentation?
I don't know. No, it's not a presentation, but let's see if I can figure out how to, since we don't have our producers at the baseball game.
I'm going there, you guys. I'm going to be there. Oh, there it is.
So there it is. There it is. So we got a special box here.
Look at that, man.
Got a special box up here. So that's
really,
where
really cool. Wait, keep it up there for a second. I got to open up the whole window screen.
Okay.
Oh, man, that's tight.
Okay.
That looks good.
You like that though? You see how everything, getting there, man. Modernize, we don't look so
you look like you got the Dr. Strange portal right there too. You know what I'm saying?
It looks so prehistoric, man. But still got a little vintage-ish, a little
be Wakanda forever right there, bro.
Hey, I like that, man. I didn't even think about that, but I like that.
That's the joint right there.
I love it. All right, so if you guys, yes, thank you. So if you guys want to come up, it's not far. Greenville's only a couple hours away. Pat, yes, you are, but Pat doesn't come. We hopefully get him down in the area some more. But guys like this, they don't come around very often. So if you are in the Carolinas, or if you are in the Atlanta area or Georgia area, man, drive on up, man. Drive on up and check it out. Yeah, it's gonna be a great show. 8:00, and the Wheel Session in South Carolina. So I think other than that, you had a show on Sunday, man. You want to say anything about that real quick before we bring our
really good, man. I enjoyed myself. Had a lot of people come sit in, get the youngins up there, get them their feet wet and stuff. So it was really, really cool. I enjoyed it. Shout out to all the people who came out and braved the weather. It was really, really a great response, a great crowd. I was really, really happy. I was a little bit bummed because the weather was bad. And so I didn't know if people were going to show up, but man, it came out in full force. Man,
that's awesome.
Great fans, bruh. And so we had to put on a good show for them. So
yeah,
if you like the show, put something in the comment, man. Say something. Rich has already commented.
And you can go to Brian Falgou's YouTube channel, and there's videos from the show that he's already put up. So
yeah. This is what Rich said. You want to read it? Can you read it?
I am working on blowing up this screen.
Okay, I'll read it.
You go for it. Okay.
Last week's show was great. You guys really help young people starting out their careers. You talk the talk and walk the walk.
I appreciate that, Rich. I saw Rich last night at the session, and he was in great positive spirits as usual, man. We really appreciate you, Rich. You're a great guy and a great supporter, and we got nothing but love for you, man.
Thank you. When you say usual, it reminded me of this barber I used to have in New Orleans, bro. Matter of fact, I met Herlin Riley. This cat, his name is Eric the Barber, right? Eric said, "Hey, man," he was very controversial, as you know, barbershops are, bro. But he would love to start the mess, right? So one day he said, "Man, Herlin Riley comes all the way to New Orleans to get a haircut from me."
Like, not this story, dude. Not that you gonna tell the whole story?
Can't tell the whole story.
No, you can't tell the whole story. Okay.
No. But so he's like, so I cannot. No. So he's like, man, Herlin Riley comes all the way down here to get a haircut from me. I said, Eric, you know they got barbers in New York, but they got great barbers in New York. He said, man, I'm just telling you how it is, man. He comes down to get a haircut. I was like, yeah, right, Eric, right? So when you say usual, he would look at you and his eyes are bugging. He looked through his glasses and goes, the usual, my brother. The usual. That's not weird. But anyway, so man, I'm down there one day, and sure enough, who walks in the door but Herlin Riley, bro?
Herlin Riley, man.
And I happen to have my keyboard in the car, and Eric was like, yeah, man, this young man is a keyboard player and stuff like that. And Herlin's like, really? So he's like, yeah, man, I told him that you would come down. Herlin's like, yeah, come down and get my haircut. So I pulled out, he's like, you got your keyboard? I said, I got a keyboard in the car right now. So I pulled it out, and Herlin could play keys, man. Herlin's a good keyboard player. Okay. And then I found out he played trumpet too. So he was like, yeah. But anyway, it was a good story.
Shout out to legend Herlin Riley.
Yes.
Great master drummer from New Orleans, who's actually going to be in Greenville tomorrow night for the Wheel
Same
session.
Festival?
Same thing. Yep. Wednesday night with Kevin Bales, our very own. And I'm not sure who the other cats are. So, but he'll be up there tomorrow night, man. So, man, I'm really digging this vibe, man. It looks good.
Pat yourself on the show, bro.
Well, I just had to figure out a couple of more little things here, but we are in good shape, man. We got a fresh look, just like your boy, the usual.
The usual, my brother.
To get when you get the haircut, man.
You want the usual, my brother.
All right, man. So I think that's it, man. We're gonna go ahead and bring our guest in. We've been looking for him, like I said, man. Somebody found him on the back of a milk carton. Forwarded the thing. It had a number 555 funk on it, and somebody called. He answered, and
did he find us though? He found. Maybe he found us.
Well, all right, okay.
Maybe he slid.
I was trying to be.
Milk carton,
Nah, we were the milk carton actually, because he was coming. He was showing up in the chat. We were whoa, okay.
He just slid the milk in there like that.
Man. So yes. So very interesting, brother. I mean, we're going to talk about when he moved to Atlanta from Mississippi and went to Jackson State, and but I just don't think people understand the history and the depth and the innovation of this cat. Like he's responsible for some stuff that people don't even know, but that's kind of how it always is, So, but he's going to be we're going to have him on, I know several more times and get him involved in what we're doing. So he's hanging down in Savannah now. He used to live up here in Atlanta, but we found the great saxophonist, composer, producer, our brother, none other than Darryl Reeves. What is up, man? What is up? Man, let me put some grooves on right quick.
You got something? I know what you got. I know what you got.
Oh my
You know what
gosh.
I got. You know what I got. You know what
You
I
got some
got.
planet stuff? Oh,
Little reminiscent of what my man's style is. It's not a
Oh
hit.
wow.
This is Morgan Guerin, but we're gonna talk about the language of this vibe that we're listening to, which is one of my tunes. Which don't say it, Jackson, because it's coming out soon. It's coming out, man. I got a lot. I'm sitting on a lot of stuff.
it's in the vault.
But listen, Darryl Reeves, man. You got
What's
the floor,
up, man?
Where you been, man? People want to know where the heck have you been, bro?
Man, I've been around, man. I've been around. I was in Atlanta up till about like 2 years ago, and then I had to get out of Atlanta for a second. Some crazy stuff was going on like during the pandemic. So, I mean, just let everybody know. Like I was with my family and we were in the middle of a shootout at a gas station.
Man.
So, like I had. So I had to dodge some bullets, man. Get on the floor, drive out of there.
Dodge bullets, literally.
Yeah. I had to hit the floor, man. My kids were in the back seat, and we drove off. And the people that were like shooting, they mistook us, thought we were part of it, so they were chasing after us for a second. Oh. I was like, nah, man. So yeah, I was like, I got small kids. Like we had to just take a pause for a minute, just get into a different environment. Plus, Atlanta during the pandemic was kind of stressful a little bit, so.
Right.
So,
but yeah, absolutely, man.
This could have been a terribly different story with, you were just really fortunate that day nothing happened, man, for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, I've been around, doing different things. I'm still working on music, still got that going on. And
I didn't know you were from Mississippi. What part of Mississippi are you from?
I'm from Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay. Yeah. Isn't Mike Burton from Jackson too, or somewhere around there?
Yeah. We grew up together.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Mike. What were you saying?
I'm a Louisiana boy, so I'm right next to you.
Yeah. Like you said, where?
From New Orleans, Louisiana. Bro.
Oh yeah.
300 miles away from Jackson.
Mike is best friends with one of my cousins. Okay. So like when we were kids, like my cousin and Mike would come over my house. We knew each other. We grew up together.
Wow.
So yeah. But yeah, I'm from Jackson. I grew up on Jackson State's campus because my parents worked there. And so my brother and sister were music majors as well. They're both older than me. So at the time when my sister was in school, she was classmates with Rodney Jordan.
Oh wow!
And and my brother was classmates with Russell Gunn. And so, so when I first when I started going to jazz band rehearsal with my brother played saxophone too. And when I was a kid, I was in there with all of Lou Mark Gully, Russell Gunn, Kevin Ward, Errol Belt, Kimball Funches, all that whole crew, Tony Suggs. I knew all of them when I was a kid.
Wow.
So yeah. And so so when I was in 6th grade, we moved to Miami. When I was in Miami, I studied with trumpeter Melton Mustafa. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah.
He played with Count Basie Orchestra.
Right.
And then when I graduated, I went back to Jackson State. When I was in Miami, I actually graduated the same year. Saunders Sermons.
Yeah,
we knew each other. Yeah, we knew each other. He went to another high school, and then the twins, Marcus and EJ.
Yeah,
we all graduated the same year. So in my senior year, I played I got to play with Marcus and EJ a few times.
Crazy.
And then I went to Jackson State. When I was in Jackson State, I studied with Alvin Fielder, the drummer,
Okay.
I don't know if you remember him, but he played with Kid Jordan a lot.
Oh yeah, with Kid. Okay, yeah.
He played the free jazz stuff, and
Free jazz.
he was he was the one that kind of educated me like on the whole history of like jazz. He had every record that you can think of, like the original records, like everything. Like so, he hit me the free jazz, Albert Ayler, Sam Rivers. We went deep, and while I was in Jackson, I hooked up with Lou Mark Gully.
Yeah.
So we played together.
I said, bless his soul, man.
Oh yeah, rest in peace. Yeah, like he was living in Baton Rouge at the time.
Right.
So that's how I met Roland Guerin and Wes Anderson. We used to stay at Wes's house and everything.
Wes had like hundreds of pairs of shoes and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, because I'm gonna get Big Head on the show anyway. So when he comes on, we can have a nice little talk, man. But go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt.
So I would go to Baton Rouge while I was in college and play gigs with Russell, Fred Sanders, all the cats. I met Quamon Fowler and Maurice Brown while they were at Southern studying with Alvin Baptiste.
Man, Alvin was he educated so many people,
Right.
Most people didn't know Branford went and studied with Alvin out there at Southern for a year before he went to
that is right. Yeah, that is right.
I wanted to tell you, your boy was playing with Kid Jordan at the Jazz Fest. The drummer you mentioned, is it Alvin, the drummer?
Yeah, Alvin Fielder.
Yeah, he was playing with him. Right? It was the craziest thing because a great keyboard player from New Orleans, Darryl Levine, was playing with Kid, but there was this piano set up, bro. And I'm like, where? I said, who's playing the piano? Why is Darryl not over there, right?
Yeah.
So, bro, Kid start introducing the band, and it's the way out. It's freer than free, right?
Yeah.
And two cats came from inside of the piano, bro.
Oh my God.
Was, bro.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Wow. Yeah, man. Like, I got a chance to play with those cats, and then when I graduated Jackson State, came to New Orleans. So
what? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was in New Orleans for 4 years.
What?
Yeah, I was at UNO. I got my master's at UNO.
You just missed me. I went to UNO.
Yeah, I remember. Like, I remember. I think I saw you a few times. I'm not if you were there. But I know I heard about you all the time. Tyrone Jackson. That's when I came. Like when I came to Atlanta, I was Tyrone Jackson. I'm like, isn't he from New Orleans?
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, like Ed Anderson. Ed Peterson. Yeah.
Oh, Ed Anderson, rest in peace, man.
I played a gig with him too. Like, I just found out the other day that he passed away. I was like, wow, man, that's crazy. But Ed Peterson, he was at UNO. Steve Mazikowski, and I was there when Terrence was there. I took classes from Terrence. Yeah, and
was Clarence Johnson was there?
Clarence. Yeah, all them cats.
He was getting his masters at that time, probably.
Yeah, so I got I played with played in Delphio's band.
Oh, nice.
Played with that was Delphio and Jason, and then I played with Nojo with Irvin and Ronald.
Right.
I played with those guys.
Right. Like a jail busters, huh?
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, man. Yeah. And so like while I was in New Orleans, I recorded 2 albums, but the last one was Diary of a Bandstand. And so what happened with at Jackson State, there's a tenor player named Samir Zarif. He's in New York now. but he used to always talk about Robert Glasper. This cat, Robert Glasper, is a piano player. And, you know, when we were at Jackson State, so I think while we were in New Orleans, because he went to UNO with me too. Like we went there together at the same time, and Marcus Strickland's first album came out called At Last. And we were in the store looking at it, and I saw like Marcus Strickland, EJ, Robert Glasper. So I was like, you know, oh snap! So I went and bought that, you know, wanted to check Robert out, and I was like, okay, you know, like man, this cat, you know, he's doing some stuff. So Robert used to come down to New Orleans while, you know, we were there, like the Funky Butt. He would sit in at the Funky Butt a lot, and bring Bilal. So yeah, so I met Rob there too. So the last album that I did before I came to Atlanta was Diary of a Bandstand, and I called Robert Glasper for that. Russell Gunn was on it. Quamon Fowler, Rodney Jordan, and Ed Livingston. I don't know if you remember him. Played bass. Yeah. Like I had 2 projects with Ed on it.
Wow. All right, so let's start right there. That's because that record, man. Okay, first of all, is it still available?
Yeah, it's available digitally. So yeah,
iTunes, Spotify, whatever, whoever, it's all on there because I want people to. Okay.
It should be. It's definitely on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay,
but
I want people to look this record up. Darryl Reeves, Diary of a Bandstand, because the significance of the record, I think just, you know, I feel like it kind of just went over a lot of people's heads, and they don't really understand the significance of the record because it was a true marriage of straight ahead language and also what we would call jazz funk language, which we're gonna talk a lot about this, man. Maybe not tonight, but in the future, we're gonna do some episodes on the differences and the similarities, right? So
yeah.
So, but that record, man, because I remember you telling me you know, the one thing that you and I always used to talk a lot about is like sonic quality, like tuning of the snare drum, tuning of the drums in particular, the Rhodes versus the work, you know, just we were very much into those sounds, man, and trying to figure out how people got those sounds, or we would remember we were sending each other like A/B versions of like snare drums and what you think about this, and what you think about that. So, but the significance of the record, man, is that I know that you had Gully playing 2 drum sets for you had him. I remember you telling a story, man, about did the cat have a station wagon or something, or some kind of car where he brought 2 drum sets to the session, bro.
Yeah, that happened.
He had to have the bebop sound for the bebop stuff, and then the lower tuning stuff for the more groove stuff. So which, you know, is a little bit it could be looked at as a little bit over the top, but I respect that.
Darryl must be in sales, bro, because he's getting past to buy into things. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, see,
let's just first talk about that record and talk about conceptually what was in your head trying to just kind of like put that record together. You know, were you the I didn't know if did you compose? Well, you had the great cover of the Patrice Rushen what's the name of that?
Yeah, it's Before the Dawn.
Oh my gosh, man. I mean, it's like my wife's favorite tune. So you know, that was out of print forever, right? And they finally brought back that record, but you did a cover of that, man, which I'm gonna have you talk about too. But just talk about, man, what you were thinking, man, when you were putting that record together.
I mean, well, see, like I've always kind of had an obsession with like hip hop and jazz. Like if you remember, like Gangstar, like the first time I heard, they had I think a song called Manifest. and it was the bass line to Night in Tunisia over a hip hop beat. Like, I've always been attracted to that kind of stuff. Like, of course, Tribe Called Quest, and you know, and just other groups that had that kind of jazzy sound, Diggable Planets. Back then, I was always attracted to that. So it was kind of a goal to get there at a certain point, you know, to be able to merge the two together. But it's like, you know, they're like both hip hop and jazz have similarities to me. Like that, it's kind of hard for me to explain this, but they have similarities. But then when you try to put them together, it doesn't really always pan out, you know, so much. Like, I remember Jason Marcellus one time, like he was swinging. He told me, he was like, "This is hip hop jazz," and then he like started swinging on the ride, and then he played a beat with the kick and the snare, but like swinging on the ride, it had the hi-hat on 2 and 4. He was like, "This is hip hop jazz," you know. And it's just like, we used to talk about that whole thing of like how you supposed to, you know, get them to mesh well together. Right. And so what happened with me around like when I was at UNO, when I was at Lou Margully's apartment, he started playing Headhunter stuff, and I heard Headhunters, but like he started playing, and I was like, that's it. Like, all the hip hop cats sample these drums, but they sample little snippets. Like, what if somebody were to stretch it out and to like incorporate multiple things into, you know, the mix? Like Fela Kuti. Fela, you know, will come on, like play a solo, and then the women sing a section or whatever. He sings something. So it's kind of like he kind of had like something that was hip hop about him in a way, you know, he would just be singing, but just doing a lot of rhythmic stuff and just kind of, you know, riding on a groove and all these variations on a groove. So to me, like, I was, you know, studying all that stuff at the time, trying to figure it out. Now, sonically with the drums and all that kind of thing, you know, like the Voodoo album, 2000 came out, and that was, everybody was talking about, you know, that kind of thing, because it's like, to me, when I heard it, like, I listened to that album like a straight year without putting it down, like every day. And there was just so many things that I was trying to figure out about it. But in particular, you know, like how they recorded it. How did you get the drums to sound like they were, you know, like a drum machine almost, in a way, sonically, but you know, you can still get this live feel. So, you know, I was studying everything I could, and eventually I got in touch with the engineer, Russell Elevato. And I was able to talk to him, like, and really pick his brain for a while. Like, what mics did you use? Like, what did you do with this? How did you do that? You know, just trying to kind of reverse engineer the process. And what my goal was to try to get that type of sound into like a jazz setting, you know, to kind of mix them up and have similarities. Now, going back to the Headhunter stuff, that to me was the closest thing, that like the energy of that's straight ahead. Like, when you listen to the whole Chameleon, to me, that feels like straight ahead, even though, you know, it's something different. So like, it was just a matter of just trying to figure out, okay, so how do you take this and update it, you know, to where a sound that reflects, you know, like today, like in the 2000 era, you know, that was my whole goal. So I was trying to figure it out. And so we would experiment. Lou Margully was into that as well. Like, he was really, I put him on the Dilla and Mad Lib, but he took that and he was listening to that all the time. Like, he really loved Dilla beats and Mad Lib stuff, who are, you know, other producers that do the jazz and hip hop thing mixed together. So, you know, we were just kind of on that vibe, trying to, you know, all figure it out. When I came to Atlanta, you know, I was playing on the scene when, you know, first got here. Chris, I thought about it. I came to Atlanta in 2003. That's where I met you. You were playing with Takana and Eddie. Y'all had a trio. Yeah. That's where I first met you. Yeah. And I brought Diary of a Bandstand, you know, there. But the thing about, you know, with Diary, like, Lou Margully was into the concept. Robert Glasper was into the concept, because even though like he had his straight ahead stuff that was going on, at that time he wasn't on Blue Note yet. When he came down to record with me, he told me, yeah, I'm getting signed to Blue Note. Like, I'm in talks with them now. So that was right before he got signed to Blue Note, but he was doing the stuff with Chris Dave in Houston. You know, he would and Chris had his group, The Foundation. I don't know if you all remember that, but they were experimenting with that too. So I was just taking it all in, you know, and just trying to figure out how I can do my thing. But of course, you know, as like from the jazz perspective, I didn't go straight funk the whole way. I wanted to swing too, because, you know, as young jazz musicians, we're trying to prove that we can play for real. We can play the swing stuff too, you know, and all the traditional things. So, you know, coming off of that, my goal was to at some point figure out like how I can do this for real, like all the way. How can I make a funk record but make it feel like a straight ahead record and still maintain that kind of sophistication and complexity, you know, that you would get from like, you know, the bebop stuff. So that's what it all came down to. I tried and was experimenting on Diary, but then in 2007, when I was in Atlanta, like I had been listening to like all this 70s stuff. And that's when I made a decision, like I want to go all the way with it, which is what eventually led to Mercury.
Yes.
So that's how it kind of all happened.
Dude, that is crazy, because in a lot of regards, because just assembling those cats together, the depth that you had to pour into the analysis, the depth of inquiry that you had to have, because see, all these things don't happen without you being so proactive about doing it and sacrificing, right? So like you just got with like people and y'all just like shed it on that. Like when you said, hey, we listened to this album like for a whole year nonstop for discovery purposes, right?
Man, come on, man. And keep going. Talk about it, man. Come on.
You know, that's a level and a depth that is severely lacking right now. And people want to get to where you are and what you have done, especially with Mercury. I remember when Mercury came out, this flautist named Claudia Hayden called me from New York. She's like, I got this album, it's killing. And I said, okay, what's the album? She's like, everybody's talking about it in New York. I said, okay, what's the name of the album? She's like, Mercury. I was like, yeah, I know all the cats on that. She's like, you do? Like, I don't know him. I said, yeah. I started naming everybody was on it. It's like Kitten's on it, Joel, Darryl. She's like, you know them? I was like, yeah. She's like, well, I was gonna sing the album. I said, I already got the album. Like,
man, that's hilarious.
She was like, well, can you introduce me? I was like, nah, I ain't gonna introduce. No, but no.
Oh man.
Claudia, you got to come in and say something.
T, go back to what you were talking about, though, man. About studying, man.
That's studying, and you know, being so like focused that you had to find it, like you didn't give up, and you were searching for it until you found it. You know, you found it in records, you found it in advice, you found it in collaborations, and so I don't think you could get to point Z without going through all the other steps. Like some people want to just do step A and that's it. You know, the immersion is the first biggest step. Right. Then you said something else. You said we experimented.
Yeah.
So I gather, Darryl, with the experimentation, you had to record those experimentations to see what worked and go and analyze that to see what worked and what didn't work, right?
Yeah, something that's crazy. Kenton went to. I was teaching at American Intercontinental University when I first got to Atlanta. Okay. Kenton was a student there, and so Kenton and I, like Kenton was bringing in his drum set, and I was setting it up, and he was playing. Like that's kind of like where the experimentation was starting. But I was lucky because I was able to get in an environment where I had access to a studio all the time. Right. So I did a lot of experimentation, like, you know, that way. And then I went to the Art Institute and I was teaching there. So I got a chance to really get in, you know, with the microphones, like setting things up. And I mean, I was teaching that kind of stuff. So, I already had to know it. I had been in the studio. So I was like I was over the studio as a grad assistant in New Orleans at UNO.
Okay.
So my studio experience, I've been in the studio and producing for a long time. But yeah, like we had the chance to
even that is like that's premeditated. You like, man, I'm getting all I can to make this thing happen. You didn't just stop at your instrument practice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like
collecting mics and getting stuff and that all that go, and then having resources. Like you could have resources and not use them. You know what I'm saying? But you were teaching at the Art Institute, which had a studio, and the other place had a studio. People just walk out of there sometimes. We see it all the time. We talk about like football players and stuff. They got access to technology, film study, but sometimes they just walk out of the building. So I don't want you to downplay what you did. I don't want you to downplay to say, hey, I was working in the studio. Nah, you were mad working and studying in the studio as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Preamps, I mean, mics, all of that. You got, once you go down that daisy chain, that's it. It's not just about getting the mic. Now you got to match up the mic with the preamp, and now you got to do this.
Yeah, and just
piece, Eddie used to even go down to the power cord. He's like, man, I got this big power cord.
Right.
Right. You know what I'm saying, right?
Right. Yeah. Rest in peace to Eddie, man. That's what I would spend a lot of my time doing, just trying to figure it out. So we experimented with the microphones and of course the sound, just kind of figuring that out. Now I wanted to say one thing. Russell was also, Russell, like as far as hip hop jazz, like he's one of the originators of that too. So I stopped through Atlanta in 1999. And I got in touch with Russell back then, and he was just about to. He moved to Atlanta, I think, in '99, and let me hear Ethnomusicology Volume 1 before he put it out. And so it was just, I was attracted to Russell's thing because it's like that's what I'm trying to be on, the hip hop jazz thing. So like when I got the cast together for Diary, like all of us were pretty much in that kind of mindset, of playing, having something to do with.
Wait, Darryl, stop. Let me ask you, how did you come and just call Russell? How did you just connect with people? Like, how do you do this? How are you doing this?
When I was at Jackson State, and I listened to all of Russell's albums. And so I one day I was just like, let me see, what 411. I got on the phone 411 and I just guessed, and I was like, Brooklyn. Russell Gunn. And I got a number. So I called and I was like, hey man.
Hilarious, man.
And I was like, hey, my brother Benny Reeves, right? Like, I'm Darryl, and that's how I hooked up with Russell.
Wow, crazy.
So
crazy. To the kids that don't know what 411 is,
right?
See, we used to have these.
That's what 411 is.
I used to do that a lot. Like I called the engineer on, I forgot his name, the engineer on Kenny Garrett's songbook album.
Yeah.
I 411 him, and he picked up the phone. We had like an hour conversation. He was telling me how he mic'd up songbook, like telling me all that stuff.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. That is remarkable, bro. I don't know if I had. But
look, but what is this? This is like, just let's see what happens. Courage,
right.
Confidence. Yeah. Maybe even some would just say like stupidity, like just. I mean, I'm just saying, when you're young, you don't even think about. You don't think about
where you get that from? Is this just that you you know what you wanted, and
you just do it, man. You just do it. But the fact that you are reaching out, curious. See, that's another thing that we could talk that you don't
curiosity.
Really, I mean, it happens on social media. Cats DM each other or whatever. But but in terms of really trying to pick someone's brain about a certain, record, or how did you do this, or how did you do that? It's that just doesn't happen. I don't think as much anymore, like it used to. But it's pretty incredible, man, that you did that.
See, like one thing, I do all these studies all the time. Like I have notebooks, I have binders where I like break down albums, and I like have the instrument. I have make tables where I have the instrumentation on every song. Like I did that with Voodoo. I did it with Mama's Gun, Tribe Called Quest. All three of their first albums, People's Instinctive Travels, Low End Theory, and Midnight Marauders, except for a few songs, every song that they sampled was from 1967 to 1975. Now, here's the reason why. Back then, this was before they had mixing consoles with pan knobs on them. So back then, they had a mixing process called LCR, left, right, left, center, right. And you could only press, if you wanted to, you could put like the trumpet in the left channel, you could put the bass and the piano in the center, where you would press left and right, that would be center. And then put, the drums over on the other side, on the right side. Right. When you hit mono, they all stack up together perfectly. Right. But the problem is when you use pan buttons, if you're not careful, you'll cause these phasing issues. Right. So they sampled everything up to 75. I think there's more had to do with the fact that disco really took off in 75 and the tempo sped up. Right. So for those tracks that they sampled, like with Tribe Called Quest, like a lot of stuff they didn't sample from 75 on. As a matter of fact, Public Enemy, Chuck D said that they hated the music from like 75 on because it sped up, and the hip hop of like the late 80s was actually a retro movement of the music from 67 to 75. Wow. And so that type of sound, the drum sounds that we're talking about, they would mic one mic over the drum set and one mic on the kick. In Stax Records, that's what they would do. They didn't use like stereo overhead, so it gave a completely different type of sound that works perfectly for hip hop. So hip hop drums, mostly like of the drum breaks that we hear, were most of the time recorded with before 67, they wouldn't put like mics on the kick. So right around that time in 67, when they started putting mics on the kick, they were getting that kind of fat sound and one mic over the drum set, right? So like that's part of what I started to I've taken that and adapted that, trying to get like more of a punchy kind of hip hop sound on the drums, which is and I incorporated that in the Mercury too. So it's just like studying this stuff, like doing a lot of reading, trying to research like why when we go in the studio today and we try to do a hip hop record with live instruments, does it not quite, stack up with some of the older stuff we hear? And it's just like, well, they had different techniques before. The technology changed and we changed with it, and some of this stuff got lost in the process. So I consider myself an idiosyncratic producer, just like Andre Young, I think is his name, from Jazz Is Dead. The guy that did he did Black Dynamite soundtrack. Right. Yeah, he's an idiosyncratic producer, which means basically that you can go through these different periods of recording and replicate it and use those same processes to record something and make it sound like that period. Right. So that's what I kind of specialize in when it comes to the recording process. And then, as far as playing and everything, just studying bad cats. Like, everybody knows I study Kenny Garrett, because I kind of have,
That's no secret at all.
But like the thing about Kenny that I like is that I look at it like from a playing perspective. Okay, you have the 12-tone equal temperament, what I mean by harmony and melody. You have the expression and the soul and all that kind of thing, like with the articulation. But the rhythm, coming out of bebop, we're mostly leaning on eighth notes and all that kind of thing. Kenny, to me, is the cat that I saw like just listening to him play funk. He does this theme and variation thing, and he does it while he swings too. Like he really takes little ideas and develops them, and then move from that idea to the next idea, and they're very rhythmic. He doesn't have to rely on the whole time.
Yeah, who did? I was like, dang, where's he get that from? That album that he did with Kenny Kirkland too. I'm trying to think of the name of the album with I can't think of the name of the album. It'll hit me. But Kenny Kirkland's my favorite piano player, and when he was playing with Kenny Garrett, I was like, oh my goodness. All the stuff we did together, sing a song, but the album before that, Simply Said. Yeah, Simply Said. Yeah. So but you're exactly right. That rhythmic variation that he does. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I just got caught up.
So like I've studied bebop cats, but like just listening to cats that know how to give you the same kind of feeling that you get from bebop, but can do it rhythmically with just different motifs. Just another way of improvising. So I studied that about him, and my favorite saxophonists, Kenny Garrett, Greg Osby, Steve Coleman with the out stuff. I like that. So I've just Michael Brecker too. Like some of the stuff he did, like was just he had that rhythmic thing too. Like that solo on Candy.
Yes, I was about to say that. I didn't mean to do that with him.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that man. That I'm like, see, that's crazy. Like that's not just a cat playing smooth jazz. And I'm not dissing smooth jazz, but this is what I'm saying. Some cats get into like the funk thing and they kind of skate and they don't really learn how to play for real. And my thing is like, hey man, like you can play funk, but don't just settle just because you can play a few licks. That's all you have to do. Like, develop. Like, I fully believe had John Coltrane made it to the 70s, he would have been playing, some of that stuff along with Herbie and so to me it's just like, if you're gonna do it, be good at it still. Try to, don't stretch out, figure out how to make it something for real. Like live up to this tradition that has been set before you. Herbie was not just Herbie on Headhunters was not, that was, to me, technically and rhythmically, like he was doing the same stuff he was doing with Miles in the 60s. And you just kind of switched the rhythmic backdrop up behind it. But, a lot of cats, that are younger, and it's like they kind of gravitate towards the funk thing because they can play. And a lot of bebop cats, that start with bebop get into the funk thing, and it's like the beat is going boom, boom, and they playing like that Charlie Parker. And I'm like, that can work. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but they're study rhythm, like really get into rhythm, really get into, if you were a player, if you were a rapper, try to rap on the instrument, see what happens.
Right.
Try to see if you can create that same kind of feel.
Right. Well, all the cats doing it on the instrument. All the cats that you mentioned, Michael Brecker, Steve Coleman, Greg Osby, Kenny Garrett. They all love the drums, man. They all love the drums. You know where you know what's coming. You know what's coming over there in the blue shirt. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it because you can't get away from it. You can't get away from the drum. You can't get away from it. You can't get away from the drum, man. You can't get away from the drum.
Right. That's what I'm saying, James Brown. I just want to say that,
You made a comment.
Every instrument is percussion instrument, right?
You made a comment in the chat last week, and you said that James Brown said that every instrument, what?
Is a drum. It's a percussion instrument.
It's a drum is a percussion instrument. So talk about, because we have some young sax players in the chat right now. Okay, so talk. Can you just, again, we're gonna go way more in depth on a lot of this stuff. We just sort of getting this brother back into civilization. We're getting him back.
Say this, Maceo's the master class.
Easing him back in. We got a lot more coming. I promise. But what would be a couple of things that the young cats can work on to improve their rhythm from a saxophone point of view?
Well, okay. What I did, I used to study with a metronome, number one. I used to create like little beats and play beside them. And the thing is, I realized doing that, it was just like my timing is off. Like I'm all over the place. I'm not really, I don't have an internal metronome. So, and then the other thing, playing on stage, when it gets loud, sometimes it gets so loud that it's almost like intelligible. You can't really hear what's going on for like maybe 3 seconds. And you don't know if the drummer has gotten off. You don't know if something has gotten off. But it's like in that time period while you're playing, you have to play and hold it together. Like be able to play like you're the drummer, So there have been times on stage where things kind of feel like they were getting lost. And I'm like, I'm just going being the metronome. And then all of a sudden, it'll clear up and things are back in the place that they need to be. But you have to develop your own internal metronome. And I'm not saying, of course, things naturally speed up sometimes with a band, but still, like just knowing where the pulse is, and then understanding micro rhythms, like the Dilla thing. The way he came up with that on the MPC that's a certain type of quantizing that's using 16th note triplets.
Right.
So if you can play and keep yourself in time, while that kind of thing is going on, practice playing that way and not and being straight with it, but use that metronome until you don't need to use it. And now, know when, like every note has a space. Eighth notes have their space. So if you rush an eighth note, you're going to get off, So each eighth note has to have its place and play the notes in duration. Don't, get excited. Don't start speeding up, like just because you get a rush or anything. You have to be as stable as the drummer next to you and work with the rhythm section, work along with the rhythm section and be equally in sync with them. That's just, to me, that's something I around 2009, 2010, I feel like I overhauled my playing. Like I went, I used to go to that coffee shop on Highland, on North Highland. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah,
it's Highland. Yeah, I know exactly what they're talking about.
Like for a year,
Highland Coffee. I thought it was Highland Coffee, maybe something like that. I can't remember.
It's some kind of
it's a catchy name, something
catchy name,
yeah.
But I used to go there, and for like about 6 months, I became known as the guy that sits there and writes music. People would because I was sitting there with my with a CD with a CD player or whatever, and I was transcribing music, like writing it out. Just not for the purpose of copying somebody's solo. I was just transcribing different people and just checking out so I could see what it looks like on paper, like how I can see everything lining up rhythmically, and or look at the phrasing, look at the motifs that how they're developing, a solo, those type of things. So I'm just saying, like, I feel like I spent some real time back then, just correcting things that I didn't feel like I had all the way. Like, I could play, but I wasn't yet in like 100% intentional about what I play. Like, I feel like now when
I got to stop you. You said you did this overhaul 2000 what?
Around 2009.
But you have already recorded in 2003.
Yeah.
2004.
Right. Got to keep going.
Y'all hear that, ladies and gentlemen and aspiring students? He's already recorded and he's still trying to work and overhaul his playing because he said he found some deficiencies or some weaknesses or things that he needed to strengthen in his playing. What a novel concept. I'm sorry. I just had to go.
I never heard of that before. I never heard of that.
Yeah, I did. I'm doing an overhaul now, like a second one.
It wasn't Inman Perk, was it? I'm trying to think of
Yes, that's it. Inman Perk.
Yeah. I knew it was a catchy name, so Inman Perk, I think it is.
Yeah, that's what it was. And I used to just sit there and transcribe solos for like a good 2 or 3 hours, like every day or every other day.
You would have headphones on. What would you be doing? How would you?
No, they would just walk by and people would be like, because I have good penmanship, like when it comes to like.
Okay, cool.
When it comes to like writing music, like yeah, man, like
when old school, you had manuscript. You didn't use a finale and nothing like that. You would just write.
Yeah, like I transcribed my first John Coltrane solo when I was 14. Damn. So I had to learn how to. This is before I got finale. I actually had finale in high school, and I used to arrange like. I went to Jackson State when I was 15 and took them some arrangements and they played my arrangements when I was 15. Crazy, so the Sonic Boom. But I had to learn how to, do all I'm pretty old school before the last of the old school. I would say I was born in the 70s, 79, but
nice.
So it's just I'm in the overhaul now, like of just trying to take things to the next level with playing. So just thinking about it and figuring it out. Yeah, it's a never ending process, and it's just like, hey, I want to be able to, be as proficient of certain things that, all these other cats, I hear other cats doing. It's just like, okay,
right.
I'm gonna work that out, so.
Nice, bro.
Yeah.
Man, we can't wait till the next iteration comes out too. It's so much to digest now, bro. So I always love your sound, man, and the way that you approach things. It was just so, I mean, there's no way to describe it, but the perfect marriage of rhythm and melody and structure and stuff too. Is like you must have played some piano too. So you have to play piano.
Yeah, that was my first instrument.
Look, you heard that? You heard that, everybody?
I used to gig on piano, man, but I was like, you know what? I need to chill because
I remember that. Did you remember what was the gig that the piano player didn't show up in Churchill, man, and you played piano?
Yeah. I think I played. It was Russell and Terrion was on the gig.
There's a couple of guys.
These saxophone players be taking people gigs. Him and Brian Hogan's, man.
Man, see, that's why I stopped, man, because I was just like, you know what, man, like I don't want cats calling, there's people around here that play piano way better than me, so
No, bro. Let me tell you, I told Brian Hogan, bro, you could ask him. I say, man, they respect you on the saxophone, bro. Making these piano gigs. They don't see you as a saxophone player, bro.
Right.
That was pretty selfish because he was taking up a lot of gigs,
Yeah, Brian. Brian. Shout out to Brian. That's a bad cat.
But no, man.
So, another one we got to dig up. Another one we got to dig up at some point. And
find out what's going on in Texas. He's a Giants fan, so he had to lay low this year.
Is he ever? Him and Ali, man, with All right. So listen, man. Let's because this is going to go on and on. We haven't even really gotten into so many things, man, that I want to talk about. But I hope you're free for the next year, brother, on Tuesday nights, because
yeah, man.
we got a lot of ground. We got a lot of ground to cover, and the cool thing, like I said, we have young cats that are in the chat or that come in the chat, man, and you also are a big proponent of music education. You know, that's something that you've always been into, something that you're doing now, and that's a big part of what we want to promote, man. There's so many cats. I know some cats, man, that's not their thing. Is their thing is not really teaching, but if we can gather up enough of the ones that are passionate about that, man, we can definitely make a difference. And you're definitely one of those cats, man, that we definitely need on the roster, man, because
I would say, man,
it's like you and Joel are the last, like you guys were, I don't know who's older. You must be a little bit older than Joel, probably.
I'm older than Joel.
Yeah, but it's still, it's like that.
I'm older than Joel.
Wow. He's a proud old head. He's like that young old head, man. He's like the young old head, but you guys have that old, you because you were raised by older musicians, yada yada yada, all that stuff, and it shows in just in everything that you do. So we got a lot more stuff, man, that we want to cover, but we don't want to hold you, all night long.
I got a message for you too.
Okay, what's for
Lava High said to tell Darryl that you're her all-time favorite.
Oh man. Oh man. Thank you. Thank you.
I just gig with me on Sunday. She never said that about me, but that's okay.
Cat's got fans, man. Cat's got fans, man. I love it. Nah, man. So listen, we got you now that we got you on speed dial, right?
Yeah,
we don't have to wonder anymore. We're gonna go a lot more in depth. I mean, there's a lot more stuff about Diary of a Bandstand that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
We haven't even
talk more about Mercury too, because
we haven't even talked about
wasn't the players they are today when you got them on that album.
Like,
yeah, so we could talk about that too.
Yeah,
that's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You found the cats before cats found them,
Joel deserves credit for that, because Joel was the one, like Joel and I hooked up and we were hanging and trying to figure out, and so Joel is the one that spotted out Kenny and Kenton to me. Like he brought up Kenton and I was just like, Kenton, I used to work, I knew Kenton. And I was just like, really? Like, and then like we were at Churchill one time and Kenton was on stage. I was like, dang, his timing, is and the thing about him, just he plays soft. He's not really a loud player. And that's one of those key things when it comes to hip hop beats. A lot of drummers get up and start playing loud as they can, trying to play hip hop, but don't realize that those records that they sampled back in the day, they were playing soft.
Right.
And they were playing with the pocket and had control over it, of everything. Like, it's just
See, you just starting stuff now, man. You just starting stuff, bro. You just starting stuff.
Hey, man, knowledge is power.
I mean,
bro.
man.
Is power.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
We got a lot to talk about, man. We got a lot to talk about. I mean, so listen, man, we're gonna let you go for tonight. And
before we let him go, hey man, all those diaries that you have written about these things, you need to publish those.
Okay. Really I haven't thought about that.
It's curriculum. It's going to be curriculum now because people need education. But I'm just telling you, somebody else is going to try to come up with something that's not going to be the truth. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
We need the truth, So, man, publish them, write them out. If you need some, I'll come down to Savannah, bro, and put the academic hat on, bro, if I need to. You know what
Absolutely,
I'm saying?
man. Hey, man,
Yeah.
we got a lot of stuff to talk about, man, because I mean, and especially because you brought up to me, you know, we had a great conversation last week, and we were just talking a lot about YouTube and the benefits of YouTube. And a friend of mine sent me this producer, I forget his name. I forget everybody's name now. I just watched the thing I sent you, T, with Sly. So this cat he was talking about the arrangement, Sly Stone's arrangements and his whole like arrangement concepts, man. I'll send it to you. You got to check this out. But it's cool because the people who were there are finally speaking up, and they're the ones that were there that know what was going on, rather than secondhand information, third-hand information, fourth-hand information, stuff like the real book. People don't understand what the real book is. That's not how you learn these songs.
Right.
Not how you learn these songs. You have to listen to the recordings, but that's a whole nother conversation. So, but you know, there's a lot of collaboration, man. I'm looking forward to you know, if you're down, there's a lot of stuff that we can definitely we can get into, man. So with that, I'm gonna let you go, and I'll hit you hell, man, if you up, I might hit you in a few minutes. So
I'm up.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Talk. All right, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Thank you, Darryl Reeves.
Bro. You got to have part 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
Purpose, bro.
I mean, part 2 could be next week, as far as I'm concerned. So we could just make a series out of it, man.
Hey, I'm down for it. For it.
All right. Let's do it. So part 2 will be next week, and we will have. If you have questions, comments, drop them. You can send them to myself, or you can send them to Tyrone. If you have questions for Darryl for next week's episode, send them to me on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and we'll take a look.
Screening questions too.
We'll try to get them.
Ask you, what type of mouthpiece do you use in reed combination? No, screen it out. Get out of here.
Whatever you need. All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon, man.
Okay.
Take it easy, bro.
All right.
Let's see here.
Yes. Put the layout back on, Brad. There we go.
Man, can I get a second?
Bro, get that Wakanda flowing right there, bro.
Yeah, so that's the only thing
that's the curiosity of the cat, man, and the doggedness, bro. It's just like in the tunnel vision, bro. I mean, you in a coffee house transcribing, and you know, you really want it though, bro.
Oh, there's so much I could say right now,
right?
But I'm just, man, actually that made me feel, you know, a lot better.
Okay.
Just hearing that and hearing that, obviously, I mean, I spent a lot of time with Darryl talking and playing back in the day. And, you know, it's been, gosh, I'm trying to think of the last time before last week that I talked to him. It's been several years, man. So, but there's just, that used to be, I mean, obviously he's a super high achiever, but that was kind of the norm for how you
out the record stores, picking out records, you know, checking them out, CDs, whatever, you know, immersion, you know, where you just dive into.
Yeah, I mean, but it was just really in-depth study, which is, you know, there's no substitute for it, man. There's just no substitute for it. You know, I was thinking about like, you know, when we were working on he came on a little bit before the show just to try to get the connection and stuff like that. And we were talking about jazz funk language, and that is in that language, you know, and I was thinking about Chameleon and
what he said, Chameleon, bro. I thought about you.
The
man.
first thing that comes to my head, man, is the depth of that composition.
But the first thing he said, if you think about it, he says the whole chameleon.
Right. It's all
That's,
right. Which
when he said, listen to the whole chameleon and play the whole chameleon.
Okay, so I mean, I remember being more obsessed with the B section than the A section.
Me too.
So, but I was thinking about Herbie's solo, right? In the A section. And I can sing that whole solo. I don't. I mean, I heard it.
Is it because of the synthesizer, monophonic kind of stuff?
I just think it's just the way he phrases that. It's so rhythmic, just like what he was talking about. It's like everything has it's so rhythm. It has nothing to do. I mean, obviously, you know, the bebop language and all that kind of stuff. But what the way that he phrases that, right? That's the first 4 bars of that.
Yeah.
Think about how like the space, how much space is in there, but how he phrases that, man.
But look, hey, I could do that on the B section. He waits, then he waits for like 4, 7, 8 measure and goes,
that intro, man.
It's like, oh my goodness. And he waited. I was like, dang, that's it right there.
Man, how many? Okay, if you had to guess, just take a wild guess. How many hours have you spent studying that track?
Oh, I got to go past hours. Because if you line them up, it had to be months of just listening to and questioning why and how. You know, you like starting on B1 or not, or why did he enter where? You know, those questions of inquisition. Where did he come in? 1, 2, 2. Why there? Right? Mm-hmm. Why does it sound so simple, but when I go to play it, it's not? Right? Or like you say, the first movement, that solo, right? They don't even talk about, nobody plays the third movement. Right, which has like the mixed meter parts and stuff. But how beautiful is that section though too?
Oh my gosh,
with the pads and the string kind of thing, the mellotron strings come in and stuff.
That's a really good point. Is the C, if we can call that the C section,
right?
Do you remember when we tried to do the whole movement up at
Hendershots? Me, you, Joel, and who was playing sax?
Vinny, I think. Wasn't it Vinny?
Yeah. Vinny, yeah. Man. And Sly, we got a chance to play Sly too. Oh, that was fun. I like Sly as well.
Man, yeah, I just I mean, like you said, I don't know, man. I probably, if I had to guess, it's over 100 hours for sure. I mean, it's long. It's way more.
You a diving type of cat anyway, so you probably have way more than that because you like you were like a baptized cat. You just like immerse yourself in it anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, it's just like he was. I mean, dude, it's months on one thing.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
I remember Tom Gross talking about this too. He, you know, when people ask him how he knows so much, it's like, because I spent a year on Chicago.
Right.
You know, it's because I spent a year. That's how you get to the depth of things. It's, you know, I know you deal with a lot of this going back and forth with your students as to how to learn.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think it's just it was such a way of life for us.
Yeah.
You know, that was one of the advantages of not having social media and apps and all the stuff at at your fingertips all the time is you had to kind of pick what you wanted to work on, and then you stayed there. But that I think about, man, I spent so many hours working on just on that tune, just on Chameleon. That's why I know it so well. But and even still, I can go back, and every time I hear it, I can hear something different.
Right.
Something oh man, I forgot about that little part. Oh,
Right. Darryl said something tonight that made me tie something in, and I didn't even think about it before. But that freaking D'Angelo Voodoo album is freaking Fela Kuti.
Yeah, it's a lot of things. It's a lot
It
of
is, but I mean,
yeah.
just the treatment of guitar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, man, that's straight out the Fela Kuti playbook. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. I mean, it's just like that sound, and then that is hip hop too.
Well, the album opens up with the Santeria,
right?
Chant,
right,
and it phases into, Questlove on the hip hop, the ka
right.
Womp, 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 womp. So he was. I mean, I remember when that record came out. I was playing in this corporate band, dude. I played it on the bus, and it was just like they just didn't get it.
Right.
And
don't you hate that when you share something and the cat's just like, yeah, okay. You're like, dang.
I mean, not really, because I wasn't. There was one cat that got it. And it was so funny because he goes, man, it sounded like they went to the basement and did this joint. Because records, you got to think about it, this is like 99.
Yeah.
When that record came out, 2099. So they did that on tape, bro. It was that straight analog tape. So the sound of that record, man, was completely different than anything that was going on. Even D'Angelo's first record, which is also a cool record. And I saw him at Variety Playhouse that when he was touring that record, Brown Sugar. I knew it. I said, man, this is the cat. I said, this is the next, this is the cat right here. And just the sound of that record sonically.
Yeah, it was released in 2000, but he recorded in 97 through 99, but it was released in 2000.
So, and shout out to Russell Aviato, who was the engineer on that record. But yeah, man. So we'll talk about it. We got a lot of stuff.
Wait a second. You know the engineer on that album?
No, but I know who engineered it. Darryl.
But no, why would you know that?
Oh, well, ask Zach. He should know.
I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen, this kind of knowledge that you get is not just from, and look, some more than others. I mean, Chris is an audiophile, and he's going to tell you everything's on it.
I give him a pat because, again, I bought the CD. It was CDs back then. So you get the little booklet, open it up, read it.
That was sometimes the best thing, is to open up that booklet and read.
No, the best
is lost with streaming.
The bifold of the album.
Yes.
There will never be anything that replaces that.
The streaming, though, is just like, man, the artwork and all that kind of stuff, you don't need that. Sometimes the lyrics will be in there, the correct lyrics, thoughts about something, landscape. You kind of get into the mind of the people, see who produced it, see, if there's like certain keyboards or something on there, or you got permission from another artist, you just learn those things. You're like, oh, Robert Glasper is on permission from Blue Note. You wouldn't know that you even need to do those things nowadays, right?
And it's a straight up scavenger hunt trying to find out who played on anything now. I mean, you kind of know where to go. You might go to All Music, whatever. There's different places that you can go where you can find, but even it's like a scavenger hunt, man. especially when it comes to jazz records, man. I mean, the importance of knowing who played on the record is more important than the record itself. I mean, you have to know who's playing on the record.
The licensing people are happy. They ready to sue you. If you don't know who you took it from and you create albums, they just waiting and doing like this. Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. For those who moved over to YouTube, stay there. We're going to be 100% YouTube here in the next week or so. We got some revamp stuff going on. So I think it's heading in the right direction to go straight up to YouTube. Shout out to Darryl Reeves, a new member of Local Musicians XP. We're going to put him to work, bro. Put him to work, man. I got big plans.
Shout out to John Liebman for joining us. Lava High. Sasha.
Lava High was in the chat.
Lava High got in, bro. You know, it was Darryl, bro.
All right.
Sasha came in.
All right.
Lori Williams is there. La Montina, of course. Yep. Hey, Nick, if you're still in the chat, I challenge you to learn some Maceo Parker solos. All right. Oh, London Arrington.
London Arrington, brother. What is going on, man?
Yes.
How you doing, man? I haven't seen that cat ever.
Boone Jr. He said he's gonna be making a return to Atlanta soon. So
okay.
Really looking forward to seeing Arrington when he comes back.
Okay.
White Tannis. Okay. Little ghost note action. Okay.
Yeah. Boone. Robert Boone.
Boone was in there.
All right. Jeffrey Boyle.
You know Jeffrey?
I don't, but thank you for coming in, my man.
Rhonda Thomas.
Put
him in your mouth then.
What'd you say?
Put him in your mouth then. Duck him. She said duck him, bro. Duck him.
One of the classic moments on the show right there, man.
Shout out to Lamartina. Shout out to the man.
The man. Unbelievable. How did he get that? How did he even get that?
Good stuff, bro.
Yeah. All right, guys. Subscribe, share this podcast. We're gonna go ahead and call it a night. Red Light Cafe's jam session tomorrow night. Yes. Saturday, I'll be up in Greenville, South Carolina with Pat Bianchi and Ronnie Elliott.
Georgia Tech, I got a residency on the 20th and 21st. Come out there, free and open to the public.
Okay, so that's coming up. You got to get a little blur, get a little flyer for that, man.
Man, our producer, man.
Man, he's a loafer. I called him a loafer, and I'd send him a text. I'm like, man, loafer. Going to baseball games.
Don't win tonight too.
Whatever,
so
man.
Come on.
I'm glad it was cold tonight. I'm glad it was cold. You hope it was very uncomfortable. Now, shout out to Falgu, who does all what he does.
Shout out to Dina listening to.
Dina, yes, absolutely.
Dina, I got you. Don't worry. I'm sending that link soon.
Yeah, I'll see Nick tomorrow. He's coming over to do a lesson. So
beautiful. What time?
Sometime in the morning, man. 11 o'clock, I believe.
Dang, I wish I could come and check it out, be a part of it.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much. Subscribe, like our channel, share it, and we will see you guys next week with Darryl Reeves Part 2. I don't even have to change the marquee, bro. I don't have to change the marquee. You know, we got one more comment coming in. Hold up. Let's see who this is because we always, that's Dina. Nick will be there at 11 tomorrow. All right. Awesome. All right, guys. We will see you guys next week for Darryl Reeves Part 2. All right. Thank you. Peace.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're still online, so hold on.